Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Gray, your one and only Captain Angel, and today we're here to talk about 3 guiding tips to a new player in the year 2025. This is basically going to give you 3 things that you should be aiming for and making your goal in order to play the game and get an idea of what to be focusing on as a new player. The game has been out for a very long time, and as a result, a lot of the new players in my community and my friends group do get a fair bit overwhelmed by just the sheer amount of content available to them in the game. So I'm going to give you guys, like I said, 3 simple tips that will hopefully improve your ability to navigate the game in a more meaningful way and not have you wasting time or getting burnt out on useless stuff that isn't going to show you any progress. So let's get started. Tip number 1 and guiding goal number 1 is a fairly simple, and that is quests. The quest tree is really important. It's something that you want to be focusing on throughout your experience as a Warframe player. If you haven't done all the quests, go do the quests. If you have the time to do the quests, obviously. But the point is, you want to go do the quests. This will get you access to Warframes. It will get you access to weapons. It will get you access to perhaps various unique other additional things that are not even unlocked at the start of the game that will benefit you completely from. So make sure that you are doing your quests. The other reason why I always say do them first and focus on them as your number 1 priority is because they also give you a very good idea of where you should be at and where you should be going. They are essentially a guiding light for you. So they might require a certain mastery rank to get to. They might require a certain location to get to. They might require certain other random side quests to be done, or perhaps they give you a specific miscellaneous item to build and farm for, right? Whatever the case is, they are your guiding light to unlocking all of Warframe in terms of every single game mode, every single various different niche grind and so on. And they do a great job of giving you all that information and unlocking a bunch of pretty cool stuff for you. The other thing as well that you have to remember with the Warframe quests, and I don't know why they don't do this, I guess it's for the veteran players, but all of your Warframe quest rewards are something that you should keep. I know that it might sound weird when the game is based around a specific gameplay loop that essentially warrants you to cycle through rewards and weapons and Warframes, but genuinely, the worst thing that you can do in this game is delete rewards given to you from quests and events. Quest rewards and event rewards are really important, especially the quest rewards, as some of them are a metric, like, ton of work to obtain if you delete them and you have to go back through it and obtain it via other means. This is something that I see a lot with a very specific weapon known as the Zorus, as well as a bunch of other things too, in addition to that, like, for example, the Broken War, and so on. People lose out on these weapons. They lose out on the ability to have these weapons for free, and instead will delete them and then reinvest in them and so on, and it's just a real pain. So make sure that when you are playing the game that you don't delete your quest rewards as well while you're at it. Moving on to guiding light number 2 though. Guiding light number 2 is something a little bit similar, but also something that I see a lot of people not do. When you're doing your quests, when you're going through the universe of Warframe, and the star chart of Warframe as seen here, you might notice, or might not in your case, notice some laurel wreaths next to all of the different planets. For example, Earth has a laurel wreath. You can go to this planet and you will see something that your world might not. And that is every single one of these locations have been played through at least once. There's not a single flashing blue light. This is a really important thing that you should be working towards doing, if you haven't already. It doesn't mean that you have to do all of them before you progress. You know, you don't have to finish Earth in order to get to Venus, but you should really be focusing a little bit on getting that sort of a thing done as soon as possible, because not only is it going to allow you to play the late game and give you less hassle playing the late game, but more importantly, it also allows you to find out where certain Warframes weapons are grindable from. It allows you to understand a little bit more about where certain materials are grinded from, or the best locations or the best game modes to play in order to get those materials in the quickest manner possible as well. And that is something that is really, really important. If you don't complete your worlds, make sure you're trying to do that too. You don't have to play them on repeat. You've just got to play them once, complete the mission, and you're done. But again, it just helps you explore the world a little bit more, and it saves you the agony of having to go through and complete all these crummy little missions here and there as a MR16 player that is going to loathe having to randomly do some mission on Earth, and then a mission over here, and then a mission over there, and then an Archwing mission, right? It's going to save you from all that nightmare later on in order to unlock the late game. Because again, you need every mission done in order to unlock the late game. So there's your first two guiding tips. On to the last one, and this one is something that might not be as understandable initially because you don't really realize it, but it is actually a guide to your mastery rank. When it comes to mastery rank, it is the biggest, most important part of the game until a certain point, and then it becomes just a matter of whether or not you care or not. Why do I say that? Why do I suggest such heinous things? Let me explain. So mastery rank from 1 through to 16 is arguably the most important set of mastery ranks. Every single weapon, and to some degree even some mods, and every single Warframe will have a mastery rank requirement. So in order to use a certain Warframe or a certain weapon, you're going to be locked behind a certain mastery rank in some cases. 16 MR is where this stops. So if you want to be able to have access to every single weapon in the game, and every single modification in the game, and every single Warframe in the game, you need to get to mastery rank 16. You need to make that your goal. It is a very achievable goal, and something that you can do relatively easily. Make sure that you go into the market, purchase all of the weapons available for credits, as well as make sure that your foundry looks a little something like this, where you have a crap load of weapons ready to go and ready to level up. You want to be having as many weapons rotating through your arsenal as possible, as well as many Warframes rotating through as possible. Remember, keeping those quest reward items are king, as well as keeping any weapons that are of their best variety. If you don't understand what I mean by that, let me explain. Various different weapons in this game have what is known as types. So you might have, for example, the boar. The boar has the Mark I boar, and then it has the Boar Prime. You have the Bratton, which is the Bratton, and then the Bratton Prime. There are some Warframes and weapons that have various other different versions. You might have a Dex Cybaris versus a regular Cybaris versus a Prime Cybaris, right? Whatever the case is, you might have a variety of different versions of weapons, and they all count as individual things. However, certain weapons aren't needed if there is a better variant later on. For example, the bolt ace has no real need to stay in your inventory when the Telos bolt ace exists. Same thing goes with the boar versus the boar prime, and so on. If you have a prime variant available, you don't really need to worry about keeping it, and you don't really need to worry about putting a reactor on. I see far too many people investing in something like a heck or a boar to like a large degree, and then finding out, oh well, the Vacor heck exists, right? Or the Kuva heck exists, and then they don't get to use these weapons and invest in these weapons. Instead, they invested in this one and then have to replace it and reinvest if they want to use these weapons. So only keep weapons that you're going to either use because you enjoy using them and you find them to be quite strong, in which case that's fine, or use weapons that might not necessarily have a achievable alternative. For example, the Arcoplasma is a great example of this. This is a fantastic weapon that you should definitely grab from your dojo. If you haven't already joined a dojo, join a dojo, but nevertheless, that's a weapon that doesn't really have an alternative version. The Plasma only has the Tenant Plasma, which is an extremely late game variant, and make sure that when you are looking these up, you are making sure that, you know, the weapon that you're looking at isn't either a Kuva or a Tenant version. Those Kuva and Tenant versions can be a little bit harder to obtain, so if you like the weapon and you find it to be quite useful to you, like the Plasma or perhaps the Vacor heck, don't necessarily delete the Vacor heck, because the Kuva heck is a real grind. So make sure you're always paying attention to how these weapons are able to be obtained as well when you're going through them. But nevertheless, you want to make sure that you are grabbing as much mastery rank as possible to get access to all those different weapons. Once you hit level 16, you literally don't have to care about mastery rank. It's just for the sake of, you know, status. And also, the other one as well is your daily standing limits get increased. That is mainly the only justification that people really have of going past mastery rank 16, in my opinion, is just the daily standing limit increased. And honestly, that is such a meaningless thing to care about, considering most of you, I'm sure, aren't going to be putting, you know, 80 hours into the game in 5 days and then going, oh my god, I can't rank up my standing with certain characters because I don't have the standing limit. You're not going to have that problem. You're probably only going to play for a couple of hours a day max, and therefore you're going to probably be in a scenario like myself where I never really worry about hitting my daily limit because I can just come back tomorrow, quickly do a little bit more standing grinding, or just redeem some of the previous grind that I've already done. Maybe I fished a lot in Cetus, whatever the case is, and I've used it that way. So there's your 3 guiding lights. If you don't know, brief summary, again, always focus on your quests, and also make sure that you're doing your entire star chart. And then last but not least, make sure that you are still progressing and guiding yourself towards Mastery Rank 16, as it is the most important and most useful of the Mastery Ranks to aim towards, as that will get you access to everything in the game that you might want to grind, whether it be now or in the future. Hopefully these 3 tips helped you out a lot. Nevertheless, I want to say a massive thank you to you all. Stay safe. It is a wild year so far, so thank you all again for being here with me and enjoying the videos. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you want to support me in any way, shape, or form, like, comment, subscribe, all that sort of jazz. And very much so if you want to see any more builds, tips, tricks, etc., come check me out over on Twitch, and check out the rest of the videos over on YouTube. Much love, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!